So you get a lawsuit, you get a lawsuit, and you get a lawsuit. We have to give you an update on Fat Joe suing his former hype man for damning accusations. Not only that, we have an update in regards to this Mary J Blige $5 million lawsuit from her former best friend and stylist, Misa Hylton. And do you know Brian McKnight has the nerve to be suing someone?
Hell no.
Well, that someone is Jaguar Wright, who had also some damning claims that he abused his ex-wife.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your #1 source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So we reported to you yesterday about one particular lawsuit in regards to Mary J Blige and Misa Hylton. We'll get to that in a second. But we have other lawsuits to cover before we get to it, including a lawsuit in regards to Fat Joe. Fat Joe is suing his ex-hype man who claimed that, according to TMZ, Fat Joe liked him young. TMZ says Fat Joe has filed a hefty lawsuit against his former hype man for slandering him on social media, claiming that the guy and his lawyer are trying to shake him down for a payday. TMZ Hip Hop obtained court docs filed by Fat Joe on Tuesday in which he claims his former hype man, Terrence T.A. Dixon, is trying to collect money he didn't earn and resorted to publicly calling the rapper a PDF file on social media when he didn't get his way. According to the lawsuit, Dixon claimed on social media that Joe flew a 16-year-old girl across state lines for intercourse and posted the allegation along with a picture of Joe, Diddy, and DJ Khaled. Joe's legal counsel claims that the allegations were made as a part of a money grab generated by Dixon's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn.
Girl. This girl is delusional.
Tyrone Blackburn. So if you've been following any of our stories, Tyrone has represented some very interesting characters over the years. He's even faced, allegedly, I don't know if to say allegedly, some punishment or review by the courts for his actions. So they said Tyrone Blackburn, who's also representing Diddy's accuser, Little Rodney, or Little Rod, I don't know if they call him Little Rodney, in a separate case, which we've talked about. That Little Rod case, though, has grown some legs since then. The lawsuit details how Joe and Dixon began working together in 2006 when Joe offered him a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a part of his team, complete with compensation, luxurious travel, touring, and other fringe benefits that accompany being in a superstar rapper's inner circle. Joe says that the partnership ended amicably in 2019 and says he never heard any money complaints for 6 years until Dixon began posting on social media with complaints he should have been paid more for his past work. He says Dixon lawyered up with Blackburn in March and fired off a legal demand letter asking for compensation as a, quote, ghostwriter on several of Joe's tracks. When those demands weren't met, Fat Joe says that Dixon upped the ante by spreading salacious lies about Joe and falsely claiming that Joe blocked him from obtaining outside funding for his own label startup. Blackburn tells TMZ Hip Hop that the new lawsuit is just a cover-up attempt and isn't backing down, saying that Joe filed a baseless lawsuit in an effort to soften the blow of what's to come. It won't work. Fat Joe has a lot of explaining to do. Fat Joe fiercely defends his name, telling TMZ, these allegations are completely false and a part of a criminal conspiracy orchestrated between a disgruntled former hype man and his attorney. These two individuals have been scheming together to extort me with their elaborate and ludicrous demands changing by the day. They said the relentless threats, harassment, and defamation have endured as they peddle salacious lies are utterly deplorable. I'm taking legal action to expose their misconduct, and I'm fully confident that the facts will reveal this is nothing more than a deceptive and desperate scam. Fat Joe's celebrity attorney, Joe Tacopina, is slamming the lawsuit. Isn't he the part of the Wendy Williams situation? Lord, I'm getting a little too familiar with these lawsuits and lawyers. Is slamming the lawsuit altogether and tells TMZ Hip Hop the allegations against Mr. Cartagena are completely false and part of a criminal extortion scheme orchestrated by an attorney who a federal judge recently condemned for abusing the court system to harass and pressure defendants. That is what I was mentioning earlier. Mr. Cartagena will not be intimidated by fabricated claims, lies about witnesses, or shameless threats. We are taking immediate legal action to expose this fraudulent scheme, and we will hold all parties responsible fully accountable. Takapina also sent Blackburn a cease and desist, reminding him of his recent misconduct a judge warned him over in the Diddy lawsuit. Here's the thing. If what lawyers like Tony Busby or Mr. Blackburn are doing, and they're doing this intentionally, they need to be stopped. I'm not saying that Fat Joe is innocent, because we also know there are a lot of things that happen in the music industry that are finally coming to light, i.e. Diddy. However, if the Diddy of it all thinks that some of these people that really don't have real accusations, real abuses, and they're weaponizing the court just for a quick money grab, that is so abusive and only hurts real victims. And I'm not saying that he's not a real victim. What I'm saying is, if he is not, and if some of these other civil lawsuits by Tony Busby are not real victims and they're just trying to get a money grab, including the attorneys, you are hurting real victims in their cases. So let's continue in regards to some of these stories, because Brian McKnight is suing Jaguar Wright. So a lot of people have said, well, if what Jaguar Wright has said isn't true, why hasn't anyone sued her? Well, I guess Brian McKnight heard you, and now he's suing Jaguar Wright. I didn't even know she had these claims. She's had so many different claims about different celebrities and things like that. She's actually been quiet for a while now. I know she's still been talking, but she's been quiet for the most part. Brian McKnight, according to TMZ, says that Jaguar Wright is talking crazy when she claims that he abused his ex-wife and with some ladies of the night. So now he's suing her for defamation over it. The singer just filed a lawsuit against Jaguar for a bunch of things she's been saying about him online, which he says are blatant lies. According to the lawsuit obtained by TMZ, Brian claims that Jaguar went on social media and alleged that McKnight was hiring ladies of the night. I'm saying ladies of the night, but let me just say S workers, because they may not be ladies.
Yup.
I'm not saying, but if you know the rumors over the years, I'm just saying. I'm just gonna leave it open. S workers. So Brian McKnight in his lawsuit claims that Jaguar Wright said that he was hiring S workers and physically abusing them during sexual encounters. He says that never happened. What's more, Brian claims that Jaguar also alleged that he was an abusive husband to his ex-wife, Julie McKnight, who Jaguar claims is her cousin. Brian says that he never abused his ex-wife and had no idea about her alleged relation to Jaguar. Now I'm going to reach out to Julie McKnight and ask her, because I need to know. I need clarification, because here's the thing. Every time that we've covered Brian McKnight, we've talked about how he has disowned his children publicly, and now he has a second Brian McKnight Jr., literally, because he doesn't claim his other kids with Julie, including one of his kids is battling cancer as we speak. But he's made so many derogatory comments and thrown shade and shots at his kids online. So a lot of people are like, we don't want to hear from you, Brian McKnight. This story and behavior has hurt him now career-wise. But if he thinks that he's going to get a dime out of Jaguar Wright, this is part of the reason why Jay-Z and Beyonce and these other folks have not sued Jaguars, because it's not worth their time. If anything, talking about Jaguar through their attorneys or suing her gives her more attention. She has nothing to lose. They sue her. She doesn't show up. They get a default judgment. What are they going to get? Jaguar moves all the time. We don't know what her address is. I'm pretty sure she probably doesn't have accounts. She probably gets paid in cash anytime she does these interviews. So it's just a losing battle. If anything, suing her brings more light to her. But Brian, go off. According to TMZ, it's worth noting that Jaguar has also made allegations against Jay-Z and Beyonce, going on Piers Morgan's show and claiming that the Carters have more victims than Diddy. Pierce ended up apologizing for airing his interview with Jaguar after getting a threat from Jay-Z and Beyonce's legal team. And the difference here is the fact that Pierce Morgan's YouTube channel is half owned by Rupert Murdoch's company. So that's billions of dollars at stake. But also, Pierce Morgan has millions of dollars at stake. Hence why the next day, Pierce apologized. They weren't suing Jaguar Wright. They didn't send a legal letter to Jaguar Wright. They sent to Pierce Morgan. Brian claims that Jaguar knew she was lying about him, but proceeded to smear his name online anyway, and he's going after her for damages. We're going to continue to follow that story because I did find that interesting because I didn't even see those accusations, but I do know that Jaguar Wright has made accusations about multiple celebrities over the years. Some have responded online, but not necessarily legally. I remember Tevin Campbell threatened to sue her, but I think he tried and they couldn't have an address to give to her to summon her. So I don't know. We're going to follow this to see where exactly this goes. We all have busy schedules. So I need something when it comes time for lunchtime, dinner time, that is quick, easy, but delicious. This is our umpteenth time collaborating with our friends over at Factor Meals. And I love their meals, but I also love their multiple add-ons. Shout out to our friends over at Factor Meals. Make sure this is the best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. And of course, we've gotten you a discount. Get started at factormeals.com/Kempire50off and use code Kempire50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code Kempire50off at factormeals.com/Kempire50off for 50% off plus free shipping. More information on Factor Meals will be available in the description. Let's give you an update in regards to this Mary J Blige versus her former friend and stylist. And Lauren LaRosa covered this and did an interview with Misa Hylton's attorney. And here's the thing. Even was it Jess Hilarious on The Breakfast Club confirmed literally she had just hosted Heart of a Woman event, which is a Mary J Blige event. And both Misa and Mary were there hanging out. So this is very new. So let's get into some of the clips. These clips are made available over from our friends over at The Breakfast Club, but we are utilizing this under the copyright statute of fair use, research. We're doing journalism, commentary, all of that, okay? Let me get into what some of the clips said from Lauren LaRosa's conversation with Misa Hylton's attorney. So just before we get into that, reminder, Misa Hylton has a management company that manages Vado. A lot of you don't know who Vado is, but he's been an artist for a long time. He's been trying to come up for a long time. He was signed to DJ Khaled at one particular point. He was working with Mary J Blige. Apparently, Mary J Blige signed him as an artist. So Vado is signed to Mary J Blige's record label, while he's signed to Misa Hylton as management, who gets 20% of anything that he earns. Apparently, he finished an album back in, I think it was June or July of last year. But Mary shelved it, allegedly, because Mary, apparently, what's being accused in this lawsuit, Misa's accusing Mary and her security chief, aka described in the lawsuit as her boyfriend, Mary's boyfriend, tried to woo Vado away, trying to X out Mary's once friend, Misa, wanting Vado to sign to Mary's boyfriend's management and tried to have him sign off on some of these contracts without legal representation. This is what the lawsuit is saying. They're suing Mary J Blige for $5 million. And I know some of you are saying, $5 million for Vado? Damn, Vado, you're getting a lot of hits during this. But maybe you deserve it because a lot of people brought up allegedly. I don't know if I say allegedly, but I'm going to say allegedly. You snatching up Tahiri on Marriage Boot Camp? Well, they're suing for $5 million because they're talking about potentially what Vado could have made from the album, from touring opportunities, etc., etc. Mind you, this lawsuit is not just Misa Hylton suing Mary J. Blige. It's Misa Hylton's production company that manages Vado and Vado suing Mary J. Blige because they want to be released and release this album. Everyone else is reacting. It's like, damn, but Mary J. Blige and Misa are not just former clients. They were best friends, allegedly. I don't know. I'm not going to say someone's a best friend. That's what people have said, based off their public appearances together. But obviously they were friendly. Misa apparently, through her attorney, is saying that, yeah, they were cool, but things started to change. Did they start to change, Mary, because of this new relationship with your security chief? Let's see.
Misa Hylton and Mary J. Blige, they're not just friends. They're non-biological family, probably closer than blood family. And it's very unfortunate that this had to go down like this because Misa tried every possible avenue in terms of trying to amicably resolve this with Mary, directly with Mary's camp. But unfortunately, and it's unbeknownst to us, why Mary J. Blige and why her camp completely cut off, Miss Hylton. And I can tell you, this Vado lawsuit isn't why their friendship died. Misa's confused. And Misa's tried to reach out to Mary. We did not want this in the media. Misa just thought that Mary may have been busy, or when Misa stopped getting phone calls and text messages and not being included on the normal things that they do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, her antennas went up. And we tried to figure out, well, what's going on here? And that's really when we started.
Ooh, that is some shady mess. Also, a lot of people have said, I don't know this for a fact, but people have said that Mary J. Blige is the godmother to the child that Misa shares with Diddy, Justin.
To figure out that the relationship wasn't the same.
So was blindsided?
So
by what?
By the way that the friendship fell off. Like, according to Misa's attorney, she's alleging that at some point her and Mary just stopped speaking. Like, she was reaching out, Mary wasn't responding to phone calls, wasn't inviting her to certain things.
Well, you got to get your attention somehow. Okay, I told you to call me back.
Did you guys want correspondence? And we're saying that this is the point where you're Mary. Before it got to this point where you're saying that this is happening, how much correspondence and what did you guys want out of that correspondence?
The first thing that we always do in situations like this is we'll send over a letter, what we call an LOI, a letter of intent. Before we did that, though, what we did was we reached out personally. I reached out to her legal team. We know who they are, and we tried via email, via text message, whatever phone numbers we can get from other people in our orbit in the industry, and we got absolutely zero response. And the way that we wanted to do this was, yes, in terms of a settlement. I mean, let's be honest here. Vado, I understand that maybe in 2025, on whatever date today is, April 29, 2025, that maybe he's not as relevant as he was prior. But
God.
Boom. Whoa. Okay, attorney. Damn, Vado's getting all the hits right now.
Damn, somebody telling the truth.
He's not signed to an independent label. He's signed to Mary J. Blige.
See, and I'm glad the lawyers say that because I'm just asking questions strictly from a business perspective.
Right.
Did Vado ever make Cam $5 million? I don't know. Did Vado ever make Khaled $5 million? I don't know. So,
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, Sean Combs and what's going on with him, it's unfortunate, but it affects everybody. Misa's a wonderful woman. Sean's kids are wonderful, wonderful kids. I can't say more about them. They really were raised as gentlemen. And I deal with them on a consistent basis, but she's upset. And again, she's more upset of the relationship. It's like all of a sudden you have a sister that you've been with forever, and 40 years later, all of a sudden your sister stops talking to you and you have no reason why.
Yeah, but you don't escalate that with a lawsuit.
You don't escalate that with a lawsuit. However, when you're doing business, that's what you have to do. And she's accusing Mary J. Blige, Misa Hylton, of stealing her artist or trying to attempt to steal her artist. And when she couldn't do that because Vado had a loyalty to his management, which I can appreciate, Mary basically tried to stop her bag. That's this $5 million. Yes, I know some people might say that's inflated, but they're talking about the potential. Who knows? This could have been Vado's big moment. Come on, y'all. Stop laughing. This could have been his big moment. We don't know. At least he didn't give up on his dream. There's so many artists today, some that have tried so many times. Because we're looking, okay, the first example, Janet Jackson had 2 albums that you don't even recognize before her Control album came out. I'm just saying, sometimes people's career point, look at Oprah. When you talk about Oprah became really successful later on in life. I think she was like damn near 40. So I'm not going to sleep on Votto like that. All right, girl. I know people have their jokes. However, we don't know. And this is what they're talking about in Misa Hylton's lawsuit. And unfortunately, when you do business with friends, this is how you have to handle business. But clearly, this is not just business between Misa Hylton and Mary J Blige. This is also a once friendship. And now, based on what they're accusing Mary of, again, these are just allegations. This is not fact. But based off the allegations, I'm sort of like, damn, Mary, are you moving funny like this? Because you are trying to, because let's not pretend Mary has talked about this, that she's had some financial struggles since her divorce. That's why she literally said she had to go sleep on one of those record, I think it was, I don't want to say the wrong name, but a record executive, she had to sleep on their couch. Not Diddy, it was another one. And she had to sleep on their couch when she left her ex-husband. So I don't know if she's just moving funny. I don't know if this is Diddy related in regards to if Diddy was out, would it even have escalated to this point? Maybe not. Are people starting to act funny now that Diddy's under lock and key? Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. It feels like every time we talk about a story, like yesterday when we talked about TD Jakes, everyone ties it back to Diddy. Is Diddy the glue involved in why people are doing what they're doing? Why these executives are stepping down? Why these folks are suing each other? Why people are fighting? Maybe. Guys, as always, I want to know your reaction to this lawsuit, and that lawsuit in the comment section below. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
Here we go now.